Hey friends, and welcome to another installment of this new series, I guess, where we explore unsettling things you might not know about a specific game. Today on the chopping block is Doki Doki Literature Club, and I know what you're thinking. That whole game is an unsettling thing, right? And yes, you're most certainly right. Nevertheless, I just want to focus on some perhaps lesser known facts, which branch into very interesting theories. So without any further ado, why don't we get started? Monika is one of the 5 main characters present in Doki Doki Literature Club and, at least in the beginning, seems to be the only one who is aware of actually being inside of a video game. Throughout the story, she clearly demonstrates her abilities to manipulate the game and its files, which is certainly quite impressive, but did you know that she seemingly has some reach even outside of the game? Not only is this rather clear if you read the Steam page for the game, which appears to be entirely written by her, but also, she actually has an active Twitter account with many tweets clearly referencing events from the game. She tells you her Twitter handle at the end of the game if you stay with her long enough. If she can do all that, it really makes you wonder what else she's capable of. Sticking with Monika for a while, as you surely know, towards the end of the game, when all the other characters besides you and her are gone, the two of you are stuck in a sort of limbo, where you get the opportunity to talk to Monika for pretty much as long as you'd like. During this time, she will bring up many different topics, one of which really stuck in my mind, since it deals with what Monika feels when the game is turned off. She describes it as being instantly put to sleep, left with nothing but her thoughts, only to then be hammered by jumbled patterns, flashing lights, and relentless screaming while being unable to move or even think. Sounds absolutely horrible, and it really makes you think how long it's been since you last turned the game off. Let's leave Monika for a second here and talk about Sayori. She is one of the first characters you're introduced to first time playing the game, and unfortunately also happens to be the first one to usually die, once her depression is turned up to 11 by the club president. This death certainly comes as a shock to many, as they witness what seems to be the result of Sayori hanging herself in her own room. There is one small detail here, however, that I want to bring your attention to. If you notice, her hands are covered in blood, which at first glance doesn't make sense given her cause of death. Unfortunately, this is later explained by Monika. It seems she didn't pick high enough of an object to jump from, meaning her neck didn't snap and she was just left there to suffocate. A few seconds in, she seemingly changed her mind, or perhaps her survival instinct kicked in, and she tried to claw her way out of the situation using her hands. Unsuccessfully, of course. Certainly makes her final moments that much more chilling. As if this game wasn't depressing enough, Sayori isn't the only girl in the club with suicidal tendencies. At several points throughout the game, Monika mentions that she contemplated deleting her own file because of how terrible existing in the fake world of the club is for her. That is of course until the player shows up and she seemingly finally finds some happiness in being able to talk to them. Now the thing is, there is actually a way you can get her to delete herself again. If you start a new game during Act 4, and you retrieve the monika.chr file, placing it back into the characters folder, a message from Monika will pop up, telling you to stop playing with her heart, after which she goes and deletes herself again. Seemingly finally resolved and no longer wanting to torment the club members. You know, if it wasn't for all the other stuff she did, this would almost make you feel bad for her. Of course, I couldn't finish this video without at least mentioning Project Libitina. Funny enough, this is probably the most complex entry on this list that could easily warrant its own video, but for today, I'll try to keep it very brief. Now you might have played through the entirety of DDLC and have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. That's because most of the information about this project is hidden in the game's files, often behind a few layers that need to be cracked first to get to the good stuff. In short, These files expand on what is seemingly the story of Yuri's book from the game, The Portrait of Markov, and something called The Third Eye. It seems to describe a series of experiments concerned with unlocking this ability, with some pretty horrific consequences. Of course, this topic has spawned numerous theories ranging from this being the studio's next game, to characters from DDLC becoming self-aware because they realize they're in the wrong universe. Either way, many of these files are quite unsettling with pictures, reports, and strange texts, so hopefully, the next project Dan Salvato works on will shed at least some light on the mysteries of Project Libitina. And that brings us to the end of the video, so I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, maybe consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. All of those would be very much appreciated. If there are some other disturbing facts I didn't notice or other things you believe the audience for this video might be interested in, please make sure to leave it down in the comments. I'd also be very interested to read it. And if you want to follow the channel or my own work more, consider following me on Twitter @thelatestbacon or joining the Discord. Both links are down in the description. Now with that, I'm gonna wish you all a beautiful rest of the day, and I'll see you in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.